Okay, we're in.
Okay. Three, two, one. All right. Welcome to Rem and Sam live on YouTube and IG.
We're back.
Cross-platform with it. You already know.
We're getting
We
out
are
in front
back.
of everybody.
You can't get faster than this. You know
No, the
what I'm
game's
saying?
literally just ended.
I mean, I'm literally just less than a couple minutes away. I'm just watching highlights of the Texans
I know. I was rewatching
crap in the
highlights of the
bed.
games that just happened just now.
Mm,
So we're ready
yes,
to go.
man.
Sunday Night Football's on the horizon. Sam's Chiefs are on the ticket
Yeah,
tonight
taking on the Falcons. The Falcons taking going headed to Atlanta, I think, right? We're in Atlanta.
in Atlanta on the road. They're saying
They
on
have
the
a great
broadcast
stadium,
right
by the
now
way. Shout out.
73% of America is picking the Chiefs to win this game.
I mean,
I think
who do
we're in
you
that
have,
group.
Brim? Are you part of America? Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I don't know that now they're picking them to win. I saw the spread was starting to get out there a little bit. I mean, how confident are you in this game? It's right now Chiefs by a field goal on the road. So I mean, they're giving you a couple extra points there on the road as well too. They're thinking you're almost a touchdown better than this team. Are you more worried in this game if Michael Penix plays? How are you feeling?
Mm, I am a little scared. I am a little scared. I'm not scared of
Okay.
Penix, but I am scared of the running back I drafted, Bijan Robinson. We have been shown to have problems against running back. If the Ravens had gone to King Henry more often, like we saw today, the Ravens did, um,
In that
then we would
opener.
have had a lot more problems in that game. But Bijan, he has been used really well. Kirk Cousin already had an upset last week. Who were they playing? I remember they
Philly.
upset it. Yeah, they beat Philly. That was like Monday Night Football or something. That was a
Yeah.
huge game. Yeah, yeah, Monday Night Football. It was a national game, beating the Eagles on the road, I believe. Yeah, by 1 point. I mean, yeah, maybe it was just Saquon Barkley still playing like a giant, but with that dropped ball. But um, yeah, they've been giant killers lately, the Falcons, and so yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried, but of course, as long as you have Mahomes under center, I'm not, I'm not panicking. Just a little worried.
I don't know. I don't know if it's locked in that the Falcons running backs are going to have the most yards in this game. Pacheco, I mean, we know he's going to get his
Mm.
usage in the Chiefs
Well, he's
offense.
out, I think.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he was hurt last game, and
Oh, that's
I thought.
right.
All right, let me see here. He's unsure. Yeah,
Is there a ruling yet?
I don't
I
know.
don't see him in the tunnel. I do
Yeah,
see
they
Ludacris though.
said
They've
they're
got Ludacris on
unsure.
the sideline in Atlanta.
I saw why isn't he playing? Yeah, I don't.
Hmm.
No, they're unsure if he'll return this season. Yeah, he's gonna be
Oh, wow.
done. Yeah, he was hurt really bad. His fibula surgery. Yeah, he was
Oh,
hurt really bad. He was placed on IR last week. Yeah,
wow. I didn't
not
realize
long
it
ago.
was that bad. Wait, so how does that make
Yes.
you feel about this team going forward? I mean, he was arguably was he your second most important weapon? Maybe Rasheed Rice is your second most
Mm,
important.
no, Kelsey's still the second most. I mean,
Well, I mean,
but
but
he
Kelsey's
is.
your first. I guess that's what I'm
Oh, I thought you
trying
said
to say.
Rice. Yeah, no, but he is our most important running back, obviously. But I mean, which is huge. It's huge for this team to give that other change of pace, and to lose him 6 to 8 weeks is tough. I do see him probably coming back this season, especially because we're probably gonna have a deep Super Bowl run, and
Hmm.
even if it doesn't get to the Super Bowl, it's gonna be a deep run. And yeah, I don't. I mean, Carson Steele, like he's decent, but when you watch him play, like there's not too much confidence, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I know it's not just because you know he's one of few white running backs. He's just I don't know. I'm a little concerned.
He does look a lot like Pacheco when he's running, though. They both have the same sort of
Yeah.
aggressive style. I feel like Pacheco, just in terms of usage, is one of the higher percentage usage guys in the league. So right now, through two games, he's 12th in total touches, and you said he got hurt in last week's game. So
Yeah, he got hurt. He got hit really
he,
bad on one of
he didn't even
the
finish the
plays.
game last week, and he's still in the top 12 right now for total touches in the league. So that's kind of a. I mean, obviously, it's not nothing with Mahomes is going to be like a devastating injury, but that is a big blow, at least in terms of the regular season for you guys. Like you said, if you're able to get him back in the playoffs, then maybe you're able to recoup a little bit of that impact. But I don't know. I don't think that the Falcons' pass rush is going to be able to affect Mahomes the way it was Jalen Hurts last week. And we saw the Eagles again today against the Saints. They're off. And, the Saints' defense is a good defense, but their offense basically stalled out as well, too, except for a big Saquon Barkley run and then a Dallas Goedert catch and run as well, too. Basically 2 plays in the fourth quarter that opened it up and allowed them to win the game. So I don't know if the Falcons looked like super scary last week. It was just kind of a sloppy game, and I thought they ended up, just sort of ending up on top, pause at the end of it. But, I mean, Kirk Cousins in prime time as well, too. That hasn't been a good recipe for his career. So I would feel.
But he won last game.
I guess Monday night is technically prime time. I was watching the Manning cast, so does that count as prime time?
Yeah, that they had Manning cast made it prime time. Yeah, but
top pause at the end of it.
That's crazy. No, what was that? No, like Manning fighting someone. He was so mad. But going to talk, I guess we should obviously react to the games that happened today. Rem, from your point of view, what was the craziest result you saw happen today? Because there's a lot of, I think near the beginning of the day, it was a lot of slow offenses. I mean, Caleb Williams is like the first quarterback to have over 300 yards. Like it's tough for fantasy right now. But at least from your point of view, what was the game that you had the most takeaway here in week 3?
Well, I think the most surprising result for me is probably Vikings over Texans, right?
Yeah.
Because I think maybe with the way the games ended up playing out, maybe, Rams 49ers is the most dramatic ending, and the Rams ended up making the comeback here in the late window. But the Vikings really laying the smackdown on the Texans, 34-7. And, I mean, it's surprising for both ways because I thought that the Texans were going to be the number 2 team in the AFC this year, and obviously that's still not out the window. But the offense has not necessarily looked stellar the last 2 weeks. I mean, they only put up 16 as well against Chicago. And the Vikings now 4-0. Sam Darnold under Kevin O'Connell looks like, he is a competent quarterback right now, and I don't know what to start saying what he looks like. Is he a starter in the future? I mean, he's in his mid to late 20s. Like, I don't even start to know what to start projecting from Sam Darnold's future right now, but I mean, he's objectively playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And I think for me, the discrepancy in how these two teams looked is the most shocking thing that happened today so far.
The Vikings are the first team in 9 seasons to start 3-0 without being favored by more than 1 point in those games, according to ESPN Bet. Their Super Bowl odds have gone from 100-1 to 35-1. So, yeah, no one saw this coming. You can't. I don't think anyone, outside of Minnesota, was really going to take the Vikings for any of these games. But this was something I was kind of meaning to mention last week. Didn't really, and now, again, have the chance this week. It's crazy to see what happens when a quarterback who was in a bad system, had no option, no help whatsoever, gets to an actual place where he can actually do something, and now he suddenly looks really good. And that's exactly what's going on with Sam Darnold. Each of the last today having 4 touchdowns, only 181 yards, but QB rating of 119. Like, he had an excellent game. Of course, he got hurt, went out. They had to have Nick Mullins for a little bit. So hopefully he's able to stay healthy throughout. But Sam Darnold, one of the quarterbacks who I had a little faith in coming out of the draft, and then he goes to the Jets, he goes to Arizona during their worst times. And when they, had very little talent, there was times, people were saying Arizona had the least talent in the league, and the Jets are the Jets. And now he comes to the Vikings who, you have Jetta, you have some other options around there, 4 weapons. And it's, the O-line isn't perfect, but you work with, Kellen Moore's the head coach, right?
Kevin O'Connell?
Kevin O'Connell, great head coach.
Yeah.
And, I'm really happy for Sam Darnold to really get a real opportunity, and it's his 9th season, I believe. So
is it really a decade of Sam Darnold?
think it is his seventh season, and it's nice to see him really get a real chance now, and he's really taking it. I mean, he's a veteran and 7 years into the league, and now we're starting to see the talent that we always knew was there. He just needed a good place to actually grow.
I mean, is that what this is? Because I don't know if a lot of people would agree with you if they were in a position where, you know, the talent that we always knew was there. Obviously, in the draft, he was a top 3 pick, but I mean, this was a guy that was bouncing around as a backup in the league, and he also was on the Niners last year, and I guess, you know, Brock Purdy proved, like, we're all big fans of Brock Purdy. I think we've proved enough. You know, he's proved enough to us to be the starting quarterback of that team, but again, you know, they had him in the system. They probably seen what he was capable of doing, and you know, they didn't feel the need to just keep him around. I mean, you know, he wanted a chance to be a starter as well, too. But
at the 49ers?
Yeah, the Niners weren't like...
Well, and not to interrupt you there, but like when you do see, he actually did outplay Trey Lance. It's just that Trey Lance's ceiling was way higher than Sam Darnold's because he was more aggressive. Now, you know, that aggressiveness showed out to not be anything of substance, which is why I've never been a Trey Lance fan. And I really, because this is, I mean, I keep going back to like the foundation of college football. It's really tough to beat. You really put those reps and you show that talent at that level. You know, Bryce Young being an exception because he had so much talent around him, you know, also being undersized. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you have to jump to throw over your alignment, that's a problem. But when you look at reports out of that area, like he outplayed Trey Lance in the preseason. It's just that they already had a carbon copy of him in Brock Purdy, in Jimmy Garoppolo before him. Like they had that safe game manager quarterback, which Sam Darnold is going to be, and they wanted someone who was going to, you know, really push that ceiling of the team. So, you know, I understand. I'd still have Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold right now just because of the resume, and I understand why, you know, if you have to choose between the two. But it doesn't mean that Sam Darnold's not a good quarterback. He's definitely better than Trey Lance, and he outplayed him. It's just, you know, Trey Lance's ceiling was, you know, higher, which, you know, he's more risky, but then the floor is a whole lot lower.
I mean, would you definitely take Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't, you know, as a Super Bowl quarterback, like, I don't, you know, resume is tough.
Well, I don't know. Is Sam Darnold playing? I guess, you know, Brock Purdy's had amazing stretches in the regular season.
Yeah, exactly.
We were ready to crown him the MVP, but I mean, if we're talking MVP again, if we take all the career narrative stuff out and just look at this season, like,
yeah,
who are the names on that list now, especially after the slate of games? I get Josh Allen plays tomorrow in Buffalo, so if they win and he looks amazing, they're going to continue to be undefeated. I think his name would probably be at the top of that list, but I mean, again, Sam Darnold kind of has to be in the conversation now, right? I mean,
I think
next week we're going to be a quarter of the way through the season.
Oh, his MVP odds are the same as the Vikings Super Bowl odds, from 100 to 1 to 35 to 1. So,
and see, that's tough because, again, now you're like, is Sam Darnold going to keep it up enough to win the MVP for the rest of the season? Especially with guys like Mahomes and Allen.
I'm not quite there yet.
Allen feels like, from a narrative standpoint, all the stuff is built to him to have, if he has a really great season, for him to have an MVP season. But again, what I'm saying is, with the way that he's playing, he's got to be top 3 right now, right? If we're doing like a ballot through 3 weeks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you have a 4-touchdown game in a season where quarterbacks are really underperforming, like historically underperforming. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, it's a tough case not to argue that he's putting up the stats to definitely be there, and he's one of the few teams undefeated. You know, 3-0.
Yeah. And what do you make of the quarterback thing that's going on right now? Because, you know, we have Sam Darnold and Baker from that same class, if I'm not mistaken. But Baker had his resurgent year last year, and Sam Darnold's having his year this year. Derek Carr has had a pretty decent start to the year on the Saints. Is it just like the youth at the rest of the quarterback position is, like you're saying, it's underperforming, but again, all these guys are super young, so they're still like growing and developing as players. They're still coming along in their careers. Is it just the amount of young talent in the league is like making these veteran quarterbacks look better, or are we actually getting resurgent performances from these guys? Like, is there something to take away from the high draft pick? Because again, like Baker was the number 1 overall pick, Sam Darnold was the number 3 overall pick. The guy that we get him in the proper system, and maybe we can actually turn him around a little bit. We get a budget quarterback. Again, maybe not like it's still 30-1 for them to win the Super Bowl, but at least now we're a competitive playoff team. We're in the mix and we're feisty again. Like, why are we getting these resurgences from these guys like this in their, mid-20s?
I think there's actually something bigger at play. And, this is just Sam off the old rocker, shooting something at the board. I think that there is a lack of good offensive linemen. I think that there's not nearly enough good offensive linemen in the league and in general. And you got to think about the position of an offensive lineman. Your job is to literally, as a big guy, run backwards and protect someone else. Like almost every other position in the league, on the football field, like you get a lot more praise. People actually know what you're doing. Like you can actually put up stats. Like there's, and you look at like, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, like there's every other position on the field. Like you can at least, like as a tight end, even if you're blocking a lot, you can still go out there and get some big catches, and so there's just so many opportunities for money, for recognition, for stats, and literally every other position on the field, like, linebackers where you're like, all right, maybe, but you still get tackles for loss, cornerback, safety, the same everywhere else, like kickers, but the league needs so few kickers, like it doesn't matter. And then as a lineman, there's just so many intricacies to it, like the steps and stuff. And then you could get thrown on the other side of the line out of nowhere. I mean, the number of times we hear about rookies having to get on the other side of the line, or, you're a right tackle, now you're a left tackle, blah, blah, blah. And like, it's different than like cornerbacks. Like you're still like, doesn't matter what side of the field, you're the same. Like safeties, there might be some angles, but it's pretty much the same. Like it really matters for linemen because it's your footwork. It's like, now you got to figure out all these gaps. And like defensive linemen, there's some level of that, but at the same time, you're really trying to just like screw stuff up, which is always fun. Like you're just trying to chase someone. And like, if you don't do your job like 8 out of 10 times and get to the quarterback the other 2 times, you're really good. So it's just linemen. There's no glory. There's like little to no praise. There's almost no stats. And all the other positions we're seeing like highest paid in history. And I don't see that for linemen. So I just think if you're in college and you're an athlete, like what do you really want to invest in? Like what do you really want to be? And I mean, why would you want to be a lineman where, the biggest play, the one time you get on camera usually is when someone rolls up on your ankle when you're going backwards into who knows where.
Or a holding penalty, and then they'll get...
Exactly, or a holding penalty and everyone's screaming at you. Like, why would you want to be a lineman?
But it's a sad thing, too, because I don't know if this is just us becoming adults, but, I mean, the line is... The offensive line is just the most important foundational part of the team. Like everything stems from, I mean, it's the pass protection and the run blocking. And I mean, you're seeing it with Caleb Williams right now, and you're seeing it with Anthony Richardson as well too. Like the Colts offensive line kind of won that game, and Jonathan Taylor won that game as well. But I mean, the Colts offensive line run blocking was incredible. And yeah, Caleb Williams was definitely able to run around and make some plays in this game, and his passing yardage total is going to was up from the last 2 games. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to grow as a player. But if you can't protect him, you're going to, I mean, look what the Chiefs have done. The Chiefs have not devalued all the other positions, but I mean, it's basically been invest in Mahomes, the offensive line, and then we'll find, receivers in the draft. We'll draft the other, we get Spagnuolo, he'll coach up the defense. Like, you're absolutely right. The more we watch this stuff, it's like the offensive line is the most important stuff in football. And you're absolutely right. I think the talent there's like, I don't know if there's less and less good, good players, but it does seem like it's like the wage gap. There's an offensive line talent gap. There's the gap between there's more like the lower end players and then the higher end players, and there's less the middle level offensive linemen.
I mean, outside of like maybe the Lions, like who has a great offensive line? Like I don't.
Maybe the Lions and the Colts and the Chiefs.
Yeah, like that's about it. It's tough, and so that's why
Eagles?
we've seen now quarterbacks have to do a lot more dinking and dunking. I think I saw an article recently like that's saying like it is a thing like quarterbacks have to do shorter passes more often. And so that's going to lead to less yards overall. And so like obviously that doesn't mean no quarterback can do no big play, but you know, we're talking about the big like field things over the across the season. Like the number of yards is going down just cuz linemen aren't nearly as good, and with more athletic defensive lines and different matchups, they're getting attacked in different ways, and we just see more and more injuries, and it's just having the shifting of linemen from one side to the other. Now teams are very comfortable putting rookies on completely the other side. I mean, the Patriots were doing that. Like the Patriots were getting killed all night, and guess what, they kept going the next quarter and keep doing it. So it's like they didn't care. And they're like, we can't do anything else. This rookie's going to just get pummeled on this wrong side of the field that he's never played in his whole life. That was the crazy part to me. He's literally played, I think it was like right tackle his whole life, never played the other side of the line. And they're like, no, in your your first season in the NFL, you're going to play a position you've never played your whole life. Like, it just doesn't. So it's just, there's little alternatives. And I mean, there's still very good linemen and people who do their job. Shout out, Joe Alt. But, it's still 4 other guys on that line. And if you have rookies out here who are being thrown in positions they've never played in a position that you need to know your footwork, like it's 2 or 3 steps and that's it. Like you're set up. Either you won the rep or you didn't. So it's tough.
And I was listening to, maybe it was Kelsey on Russillo. I don't know. Russillo's had a couple of offensive linemen on recently, but one of them was talking about the fact that that position group as well, too, doesn't get like a lot of development in the league. Just the coaching is a lot of maintenance, and they kind of just assume that the offensive linemen already know what's up, and then they just bring them in and kind of work them into the system instead of actually coaching them up and developing them, which kind of makes sense because when you see a lot of the offensive linemen that hit in the league, it is the guys that can fall in the draft because they're not like the big athlete prospects, but it's the guy that's like, oh yeah, he's NFL ready. He's going to come in and he's going to, work right away and know what he does. But I really do think if you're a team, you almost have to take an offensive lineman like in the top 3 rounds of the NFL draft, like every year, if you can do it, if you have the assets to pull it off. And Chris Ballard has kind of been doing that. He's, maybe been more like 4th, 5th round every year, but I mean, he's always taking at least 1 or 2 linemen. And again, the Colts are one of the few teams that have a good offensive lineman. And I will make no mistake, like you can check the tapes. It is frustrating at times where you go, okay, it's, boring picks and it seems like we're investing in the same thing over and over again, but it's really going to be key to Anthony Richardson's development. The fact that he might actually have some time because, I mean, he's a guy that is actually going to need to really grow as a quarterback prospect. I mean, he's had, unfortunately, 2 of the 3 games now where he's completed 9 and 10 passes. But, he still had.
He's still playing. He's still playing. That's a win.
He's still out there. He's really, looks physical on a lot of his runs and looks healthy. So I know I just jinxed him, but it looks good.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well talk about your Colts. How did you feel? Caleb Williams almost came back. It was close. He was, and like we mentioned, first quarterback this season to have over 300 yards.
Is he? Wait, was he really on the whole year?
Yeah, no, he was the only, at one point was the only quarterback, and he might still only be the only quarterback.
Somebody else had 300 yards as well today, too. I forget. Oh, maybe it was Dalton.
It was after him, yeah.
Dalton.
But he got to it first. That's why I was saying it's tough. People aren't getting yards this year.
I thought you just meant today, and I was like, yeah, that's rough.
No, I think maybe today. Let me see. Maybe it is today.
I wouldn't necessarily doubt you. I mean, the quarterback performances that have been big performances so far have been on the ground, and I mean, even Richardson's performance in week 1 with the 9 completions was one of the bigger fantasy performances.
I love how Richardson's the standard for passing yards. That's funny.
212. No, it was an ugly week to be a fan of my teams this week. I think between the 2 quarterbacks that I root for at Michigan and the Colts, they had they
but that's a good win.
Less than 200 yards combined.
USC at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they were able to grind it out. But
Edwards, what's up? You guys running his back? Run the damn ball.
And Indy kind of did the same thing. I mean, Jonathan Taylor carried in this game. And it was, him on the ground, but also, I mean, we saw Anthony Richardson's inconsistencies, and they really had to rely on Jonathan Taylor in the passing game in the second half as well, too, just to give Anthony Richardson some easy completions and to give the offense a little bit of a different dynamic as well, too. So, I mean, who would you say is the best running back in the league right now? Because McCaffrey's been out to start the season, and, when he's playing and he's fully healthy, he's clearly got that belt, but it seems like it's been vacated a little bit. Like, has Taylor reclaimed that spot from a couple years ago when he was offensive player in the league? But Barkley was also awesome today as well, too.
Yeah.
And Barkley definitely carried the Eagles and was awesome in the first game of the season as well, too. So the running back position is definitely, and like you're saying, with the quarterbacks, we're seeing with these young quarterbacks, like Anthony Richardson, and Jalen Hurts is not a young quarterback, but there is still, obviously, we're seeing now some developmental things that still need to happen in his progress. Like, if you have this high-talent running back, you can give him the ball just in the run game, but you can manufacture easy passes for your quarterback. So it is a thing where I get you don't want to over-invest in your running backs, but there definitely has been an overcorrection in paying these guys. Like, Saquon, with the way he's playing right now, what is Philly paying him? Like $12 million a year?
Maybe, yeah. It's something crazy.
It's still how much does Cortland Sutton make? That's like a wide receiver too. Like, a pretty good wide receiver pay, but Saquon Barkley can be the best offensive player in a game. Like, at some point,
he definitely can.
At some point, the running back value has to matter. Yeah,
it's a tough week after to make that argument. I mean, he had a great touchdown today against the Saints, 65-yarder. Before we move on to the point, so you are right. Andy Dalton did get a 319 yards.
But that was in the later window, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, at one point in time earlier today, Caleb Williams was the only quarterback this season who had over 300 yards.
And else in the first 2 weeks
and Andy Dalton. I guess him and Andy Dalton are the only, unless there's someone else. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, chat. Did somebody else throw for 300 yards that we're not missing? Or that we're not getting?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I actually have a hot take about Jonathan Taylor.
Oh!
You guys correct me. Is he, as a Colts historian, is he a top 3, maybe best running back in Colts history?
Well, I was thinking about this today as I was watching him because, again, he was carrying the team, and I was like, Jonathan Taylor is a great running back, but unfortunately for that Colts history ranking, the Colts have had some amazing historic running backs on the team. I mean, did they draft Eric? I think we drafted Eric Dickerson. We drafted Marshall Faulk. I mean, we have running backs going back to Lenny Moore,
James.
Alan Amici, Edwin James.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me personally, my favorite Colts running back is probably, well, I don't want to start picking my favorite kids here, but Edwin James is always just the nostalgia for
over Marshall Faulk.
Well, I didn't really ever watch Marshall Faulk, and he also demanded a trade as well too, which, I mean, the Colts were not great, and it was the right move. He went to the Rams and won a couple MVPs, but regardless, a little Kawhi-ish.
Frank Gore.
A little Frank Gore.
I mean, I would say Eric Dickerson, and
Eric Dickerson's definitely the best running back to ever.
Yeah, but they both had their best years not with the Colts, though.
Yeah.
So like, as in terms of the best Colts one, I mean, outside Edwin James, I mean, this ranking has it. Like, they have Jonathan Taylor 4th, Joseph Adai next, Frank Gore, and then Lenny Moore. So, Marlon Mack is on here. Yikes.
But too high.
But I guess, yeah. So I guess the main question is James for you now, which I guess we can pull up his stat.
Is he? Wait, sorry, you broke up. Did you say? Is he over Edwin James?
Yeah, Yeah, that's the main. I guess his last serious challenger, considering Dickerson and Marshall Falk both had their best years somewhere else.
Well, I want to look up Eric Dickerson's best Colts season here real quick and see what his. Oh, so he was drafted by the Rams and then traded to the Colts at the end of his career. I got that backwards. My mistake, but.
Oh, he was at the end of his career, so it was when he was.
Not the end of his career. He had a couple of good years. The first year he got there, first team All-Pro, 1,600 rush yards.
Okay, that's not bad. That's good.
2,000 all-purpose yards and 15 touchdowns. But I don't think that matched what Taylor did that year he won Offensive Player. That season he had 2,100 yards and 20.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had over 2,000, yeah.
But Edgerrin James had probably a few more years. Edgerrin James' best season, 2,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. Those first two seasons, he had 2,117 touchdowns and then 2,318 touchdowns. I mean, I was a baby back then, but 05.
So let's see. His best year was 05, was it?
No, I mean, I vaguely remember a little bit of the 05 season.
I guess his best year was 2000.
Yeah.
1,700 yards. Jeez. 13 touchdowns. Over 2,300 yards from scrimmage.
His best year in terms of stats, but his best year in terms of status in the league was 1999. He finished 4th in MVP voting. That was
his rookie year.
Yeah.
Offensive rookie year. That's crazy. So his best year was his first two. I don't know.
But then that 04
Jonathan
season,
Taylor, stats-wise, had a better season than him. His best year, right? 1,811. While he had 17, and then 13 touchdowns, while Jonathan Taylor had 18 touchdowns. So you tell us. Let us know at home.
Chat,
he also had
Colts fan
5 fumbles that year, while Jonathan Taylor had only 4.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
The man's a legend.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They're both offensive player of the year too. They didn't win it. Yeah, I guess Jonathan Taylor didn't win it. He got second.
Oh, he got second that year? Who won it?
Yeah. I don't know. But also Edgerrin James never was All-Pro first team. He was always All-Pro second team. Well, so I'm just saying Jonathan Taylor's eaten really well off of that 1 year. But man, did he play really well that 1 year.
But he's played really well when he's been in. It's just been the consistency of him being on the field. He's been hurt over the last couple of years. But I don't know. I've had too much. This year I'm changing too much of like personal stuff that I've really loved.
Cooper Cup. That was the Super Bowl year.
I'm having too many personal crises with my personal rankings. Up until this year, I always thought "Take Care" was my favorite Drake album, but lately I've just been listening to Her Loss over and over and over again, and I can't get it out of the rotation. And,
how's it going?
I've always been a J. Cole guy.
Scorpio is the best.
Kendrick is going to be maybe my #1 artist this year. So I don't know if I can replace Edgerrin James with Jonathan Taylor yet, but I know we're going to have to do a full Drake debate at some point about what his best album is, because you always think it's Scorpion. I feel like you like that middle, that like we'll call like prime Drake run, that Views Scorpion era.
Yeah.
You like that more than like early Drake or this like later?
Now Drake, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's probably when I listened to Drake the most, but I feel like he had the best. It was the most consistent over the whole track. I think it was his best mix of like his older like singing stuff in there, but like enough of his new, like a little bit trendy, like trying to, it was the best mix, because now he's gone too trendy and it's like, oh geez, what's going on? But Cooper Cup won that year, 2021. That was the crazy Triple Crown year.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you got to give it to Cup that year.
Yeah, he has 3rd in MVP voting for Cup. Yeah, but Jonathan Taylor has had a better singular season than Edgerrin James. So
maybe We'll check
Might be
back
doing
in
it again
this year. Also, Lenny Moore.
Yeah, he was on the list too. People didn't vote him up there. They had actually Joseph Adai above him. Adai, is
What is
that how you
this?
say it?
Ranker.com.
Yeah, ranker.com it
Yeah,
is actually.
get out of here. Lenny Moore is over Joseph Adai. Lenny Moore's in the Hall of Fame.
He said, what is this, ranker.com? Oh, but how scared were you that your team was gonna be 0-3 here?
Well, again, fortunately, they also had a lead for the big part of the game, and Caleb Williams doesn't really. I guess they were moving the ball, but they weren't getting into the red zone a ton. But he did, again, I mean, he had a ton of yards, and he connected with the Dunze down the field on a couple of really nice passes. So you can see where that connection is going to be really deadly going forward as they continue to develop. But it's just the Anthony Richardson heart attack experience that's going to be the main takeaway of today, because, I mean, you get the full experience of what you're going through right now rooting for him on that one drive where he has an amazing deep pass to Alec Pierce. It's like the perfect way that their offense is, I mean, when they've hit these explosive plays, it's like, are they the most explosive offense in the league with Richardson's arm and their down the field speed? And then just in the end zone on what should be like a simple little, back of the corner. If it's not there, throw it high, let the receiver make a play, or just throw it at the back of the end zone. Just basically throws it right to the defender. Now it's an interception, and it should have been, was it 0-0 or 7-0 at that point? They should have had another touchdown on the board, but I think the Colts are the team. The run defense was not good through the first 2 weeks. It was a lot better today, but I mean, Jalen Jones, the corner, looked good. So the Colts team has been competitive in these games and showed some really positive stuff. It's just if we can get some consistency now with some of Richardson's performances, and again, it was enough to win today, but obviously against some better teams, they're going to need him to be a little more careful with not turning the ball over in big moments like that. But
yeah.
Again,
Well,
overall,
game,
with Jonathan Taylor being back in that sort of way, I mean, we know that that's a recipe for success for this team. So I feel good about that.
Yeah, no, we'll see. Jonathan Allen, I think, really showed again, like today, why he is regarded so highly in the league. Why he was deserved the contract. Was worth. Really interesting to see Richardson work through his mistakes. I mean, there was that like really costly interception in the end zone where you're like, what are you doing? Where he flips it in the end zone, and then you see those highlight plays where it's really, really great stuff. So have mistakes, you're gonna have to work through stuff. I really thought this was a great game for Rem and Sam. He had some really great plays today. I think I don't have his stats in front of me, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny. It was kind of back and forth. They were just, you can see all the talent, but you can also see how much they have to learn.
Should we give an update on your team in this game? 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Chiefs down.
I don't know. We're down right now. Halfway through the first, almost done through the first.
P. Ryan is your running back.
Samaj P. Ryan. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need P. Ryan a lot. No Pacheco. 4 minutes left in the first. Get it to Carson Steele for the first down.
I mean, obviously, there's no chance to, or there's no need to be worried at this point in the game.
Yeah,
Chiefs are driving, but there was talk after that first week that your offense was quote unquote back to being that explosive offense or whatever. But Worthy, I mean, we see him right here. It doesn't seem like they're able to use him down the field at all. He's kind of a behind the line of scrimmage guy. We've seen your offense go back to be more methodical, and I guess now Pacheco's out, so that's really gonna take that element away a little bit. But they're showing him get rolled up again. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was bad.
Oh, geez, he walked off on it.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't see.
They just showed
Yeah,
him on
I
the
think he
replay.
walked off and then he fell in the um fell in the settling. But yeah, no, it's crazy.
Oh, a pick on the blitz. They blitzed Mahomes, and I was about to say, you don't blitz Mahomes. And he had the receiver. The receiver was there, just
Oh snap!
underthrew him. Who got the pick? Was that Simmons? Justin Simmons.
Oh snap! Man, I need to update my stream. We're really behind.
Where are you at right now?
I just got the replay of the Pacheco injury.
Oh, yeah. You're a play behind. Sorry to spoil it, but
No, you're good. We're live
you're
reaction.
raised.
Comment down below who you think is gonna win. Let us know.
Let
Who
us
do
know
y'all
who's
think?
going to win. Predictions. Any of your parlays? Drop your parlays in the chat.
What- Hopefully they're from our channel sponsor, BETSTAMP. Get your best odds. Get the best odds in town. There.
If you want to make sure you guys are finding the best odds in your best stamp is the way to best way to shop the odds across all the sports
It
books
is.
in the marketplace. Links are in the description.
Only place. The only place.
You guys might be in jeopardy because I might have a couple of Chiefs bets floating out there. Hit him with the jinx.
Interesting. Hit him with the old jinx. He's just trying to get us. Let's see. Another surprise. Honestly, like we mentioned, the most interesting game was the 49ers. It was kind of interesting seeing them go up by so much without Debo, without McCaffrey, without Kittle, and you're like, oh, none of them, no problem. And Brandon Jennings has a Super Bowl-like performance. I think he had like 3 touchdowns. Just bossed the guy for probably the play of the day.
Yeah.
And all that, and yet they still lose at the end of the game. You can just see the tide rolling in that third and fourth quarter. The Rams just, chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. And similar to the Cowboys with the Ravens, except they actually finished the job. For the 49ers, like, this is not the first year they've been dealing with this level of injuries. And, like, what can you do? If you're a GM, if you're John Lynch, like, what can you do? You can't fire Shanahan. You can't get rid of any of these players because they're too talented. Like, what can you do to stop them from doing all this? And also, shout out Justin Simmons, the most touchdowns, most interceptions since 2016 in the league. He had 6 interceptions, 4 more than any other player. Shout out Simmons. He just loves picking off my guy.
Oh, yeah.
But what do you
specifically?
do with the 49ers? Yeah. He was on the Broncos.
Broncos, yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. He's gotten us every once in a while. But yeah, what do you do? Because this is, again, it's happening again. Like, all these skill players getting injured on the 49ers.
Have they given Purdy like a full-on extension yet? Or is it just did they just do like a restructure? Because I think they definitely gave him a raise, but I don't know if they gave him I don't know what commitment they sort of gave to him long term. And I mean, I guess again, long term going forward, what can you do? That's going to be the big thing to keep an eye on. And I guess I don't know what the move would be, but again, we're not totally out on Purdy. It's a rough set of circumstances to start the season. Brian Flores is a tough defensive coordinator to go up against last week. And, you haven't had McCaffrey, no Deebo Samuel this week. Trent Williams goes down in this game, and then the first play that Trent Williams goes down, they get pressure off that side, and then the ball gets loose. I don't remember if they had a fumble or if the Niners were able to get back on top of it, but just pressure right away off the side that Trent Williams is on. So it's not just it is definitely just like bad luck a little Super Bowl hangover, kind of bad karma vibes for this team. So I don't know if there's necessarily anything you can change up until this point. It's just they've had injuries to basically all their main players. Even Fred Warner got hurt at one point in this game and had to go out and miss a couple of plays. So I get the Rams were decimated with injury, but that's also Stafford and McVay and the baseline consistency that you're going to get with that duo as well, too. So, again, like Flores is a tough matchup. This is a weird divisional matchup. I don't know if there's need to, do serious panic yet if you're the Niners, but, they were also up big in that game as well, too. And I get Deebo Samuel was out, but, I mean, Juwan Jennings probably had the best receiver performance of the year so far.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Definitely the most fantasy points, I bet, of anybody. He had 3 touchdowns. I don't know if anybody's had more yards up to this point. So I think it's just been bad luck. I don't know if it's been like a schematic stuff. I'm going to need to go watch the all 22 this game afterwards and figure it out.
Well, I mean, it is, and that's why I'm mentioning, every team always deals with injuries. But to have this many of your top guys injured all at the same time again, is this third, fourth year in a row? They just constantly have. It's almost like a basketball team where.
I was just gonna say this feels a little Warriors-ish in that finals against the Raptors, but it's the start of the season.
You just know someone's gonna get injured. You just know someone's gonna be out half the year, and and now you add McCaffrey to the mix from last year and this year, someone who is continually injured. But you can't get rid of those players, and you never will. And chances are they're all going to be healthy come playoff season, and it's going to be crazy. But you can't rely on doing that every year because you're going to have a Memphis Grizzlies situation happen, and then before you know it, you're at the bottom of the league wondering what happened. And looks like the Falcons' offense is getting called for something, decline because it's 4th down. Chiefs defense holding them down, holding them out. Man,
they're punting away.
Shout out.
Holding strong off the turnover.
Man, he was grabbing him all right. Are they kicking the 3? No, it's punting. All right. Like I said, we're not worried. We've dealt worse, won with worse, and honestly, if we're about the time.
What was your panic meter at last week against the Bengals? Were you nervous at all in that game? Because that one came down to the wire last-second field goal.
Yeah, and that would have been a good loss, to be honest. The Bengals, if you're really going to lose to a team, that's the Bengals. Now, it is at our place, so, there's a little bit of, never wanting to lose at home, and no loss is really good. But if there has to be a team, at least make it that one team. But yeah, it was definitely high. I definitely thought we were done. We were cooked at the end of that game. And then there was that. Of course, we got bailed out. But before we got bailed out, we had a whole lot of penalties against us. So I'm just saying for everyone who's, the refs are Chiefs fans. They got us too. But yeah, it's once you have Mahomes under center, there's just a calmness that, we'll win enough games, we'll win our division, and we're just going to have another deep playoff run. And as long as Mahomes is healthy, I'm fine. So honestly, I'm not going to have any real fear this whole season until we get to the playoffs. Just because, Mahomes, he's reaching LeBron levels. You just know you're just going to be just fine. As long as he's in the game. It doesn't really matter who's out there, kind of does, obviously. But you're going to be fine. He's going to get you, football terms. He's going to get us double-digit wins. We're probably going to finish the year with 11, 12 wins, go to the postseason, and make it to the championship game. So I'm not worried at all. It's a very calming thing having Mahomes under center, and the team we just don't beat ourselves, and it's crazy. It's something when you watch other teams, it's crazy how often it happens.
Yeah.
That's an assignment for any of our viewers at home. Watch how many times teams beat themselves. Running backs run into their own blocking, the quarterback not putting in enough touch, throwing picks. And Mahomes just threw a pick, but that was also a really good movement by Simmons. It's not like Simmons was just sitting there. He made a great play and outsmarted Mahomes, shout out to Simmons. But Simmons has Mahomes' number, I guess. But when you watch a lot of these other teams, they just beat themselves. You use timeouts at the wrong time. You go for meaningless fourth downs. Like it's just you don't take the field goals, which is something that I'd say. Also watch the Chiefs. We take field goals quite a lot. It's interesting, even though we may have one of the most explosive offenses. So I just as long as Mahomes is under center, it's very tough to make me panic because honestly, there's no team I feel can beat us like any given Sunday, which obviously happens with every team. The Panthers just beat the Raiders, but 10 out of 10 times, I know we're at least winning 5 against any team in the league.
But that's why I asked that question because, I guess we'll see over the course of this year if the Bengals are on the same level as the Chiefs. I'm not totally certain if that's the case, but at least that with Burrow and Chase and Hendrickson, that's the one group of guys that you have a little bit of PTSD from with that playoff loss. So at least going into that game, there is and can be flashbacks of, this team has beaten us before. And that's kind of, in a big moment. And that's really, with Brady out of the league, that's the only group of guys that's like that. So like you're saying, if that team now, you can watch a game with that team and just have basically zero worry. It's like Mahomes has just nerfed all of your football nerves at this point. You just have no panic watching football. It just must be like an incredible state of bliss to watch football in. And you're right with the teams hurting themselves because, now obviously with you having Mahomes, it's like the other people, we have to watch football through the perspective of how do we beat this guy? Like this guy is the standard.
Yeah.
And
especially the Raiders.
yeah. And
well, they've said, I've heard from inside intel, reporters saying
Papa Price is talking.
Papa Price, saying defense is built to beat the Chiefs. Also, quick stat, I believe in his first 100 games for Mahomes, because he just hit it, he's won 77 games, most in NFL history. So, almost 80% of the time he's gonna win. That's why it gives you common. If you get 80% of the time is crazy. Like for football, that's an insane stat. And so, he's having the best start to the career ever in NFL history. So.
But I just keep thinking about that
running backs.
I keep thinking about that Ravens play from the playoffs last year, where Lamar has the pass at the end of the game to win it, and he just throws the interception. And it's like you're saying, obviously through this Chiefs run, it's time and time again they've had moments where they have made the amazing play, but it's also time and time again where they have just been the team that has had the proper execution. And like you're saying, Mahomes threw a pick in this first quarter, but most of the time in fourth quarters and in big drives, the man's perfect. That's why he's, in the running for the greatest quarterback of all time if he keeps this up. So, you're right. Just that precision and execution in the fourth quarter. It's I don't know why this became a football 101 fundamentals pod right now.
Yeah,
but all these.
Now I sound like Cris Collinsworth. Bro,
But I think there's some real team building stuff that's leading to this right now with the way teams are valuing the contracts and the certain positions and trying to get rookies in and just replace guys all the time. It's like you're saying, there's certain deficiencies in these skill spots where maybe because of the way the league is thinking now, we haven't had that in the past, but. You're right. The Chiefs' ability to just consistently make plays at the end of the game. So, we're driving here to start the second.
Yeah, they're just doing their thing. Just nickel and dime, just driving down the field.
And I was seeing a stat as well, too, that Mahomes has the shallowest – he has, the lowest depth of target of any quarterback in the league. So, you're right that – the leagues are definitely throwing – the shorter passes because of some of the inefficiencies of the quarterbacks. But if the Chiefs are doing it, it's clearly there's something schematically that's an advantage there of working this short distance stuff and taking what the defense gives you and just kind of nickel and diming your way down the field. And I feel like every time I've looked down, they've run the ball. The only pass I've seen Mahomes throw so far is the interception.
Yeah, they've had a couple bad. But it's live by the sword and die by the sword, And if you're able to get, about 4 or 5 yards every single time you rush, then why would you stop? And for this offense, it's one of the things where they realize other teams are going to be attacking the time of possession. And so if you as your team can, take the safest throws, and just, make sure you get points on every drive. But it's the same thing like a nice sports car. Like it can also go 10 miles an hour. Like if Mahomes got to step on the gas, like he can vroom it. He can go he can vroom and also like we just saw in that last 2nd and 8 play. It's also avoiding taking sacks, not having tackles for losses, not going backwards.
Yeah.
But you see now 3rd and 8, he can still. We know Mahomes can get it down the field, so there's little to no concern.
And that is one of the things that is continued to make me optimistic about Richardson so far. And yeah, Mahomes just does it right there to Justin Watson on the sideline, extending the play out the pocket. But he does seem to have a sense of how to orchestrate an offense in that way, where we're going to take the deep shot now. Now is the time to nickel and dime it. And a lot of that is, probably Steichen's play calling around his own limitations. But, I mean, Anthony Richardson is willing to, again, take what the defense gives him, take those short passes when it is like, when it was clear in the second half that Steichen was like, we're really going to pull the reins back and really limit what the throws are going to be. But, he was
and also
really okay with executing.
This team also might have the best safety duo in the league, and they already showed it with that interception. So
the Falcons.
They might not. Yeah, the Falcons. I
Yeah.
mean, so they're definitely going to be trying to be a bit more conservative, dot up this team a bit more. Oh my gosh, pour some mud. Lost his helmet.
Do we get a big Kelsey game today?
Offsides. I don't know. He's just not been involved at all. I don't know.
Did
Maybe
the Amazon contract make you worry at all when you saw that news?
A little bit. I saw people talking about like, oh, why doesn't Kelsey retire? Like, what are you playing for? It's like, all right, you don't need to do that. Oh shoot, talking about the Chiefs.
Yeah, he's not Tua.
Oh, it's. That's funny. Offsetting penalties.
Oh, are you ahead of me now?
Offsetting penalties? I don't know. I didn't see the penalty call. Try to call it. Let's see. Any other interesting games from today? Malik Willis gets it done against the Titans.
Malik
Eagles.
Willis, he was the #1 fantasy guy today. I think the #1 fantasy quarterback was Malik Willis. The #1 fantasy receiver was Jawan James.
Well, not over homie Sam Darnold. There's no way. Sam Darnold was 4 times.
Let me double check here. I was watching the ticker on Red Zone. And I thought that they kept showing Sam Darnold #1. I guess it depends on what
league you have.
True. I'm going to pull it up in Sleeper here, so I don't know if that's going to perfectly match what I saw on NFL.com, but if Malik Willis had the day, then it won't matter. Baker Mayfield leading on the season? Oh, I think
that's wild.
I think that's just available guys.
Man, Falcons with the rookie defensive coordinator. Let's see, Jimmy Lake.
Who are the Falcons?
All right, we're in the red zone. I don't know who their offensive one is, but Arthur Smith, that's his focus. So, nice, got the first down, and Rashee Rice walks in for the touchdown.
Okay, so after the slate of late games,
probably holding
on Sleeper, it looks like Dak ended up being the #1 overall quarterback. Malik Willis ended up falling out a little bit after the late games. And yeah, Sam Darnold did finish above him. Pause.
Yeah. The 4 touchdowns are wild. Oh, it's a defensive foul.
But just barely. Sam Darnold had 27 points. Malik Willis had 26.
What was he rushing? Jeez.
Do you know how many yards Sam Darnold had today?
Like 181.
181. See, even just the offense. Yeah. I feel like a lot of this too is going to be contributed to the kickoff being moved up. I feel like teams are starting farther up now, and just
that's true. I mean, he's starting on the 30-yard line. Like at that point, like you just might as well run it because you only need like what now with Aubrey hitting a 65-yarder,
True.
right?
You go
63-yarder.
15
You only
yards.
need like what 30 yards to get a field goal. Like, why would you throw it down the field? And it's crazy to think that 10 yards changes the game so much, but it really does. I mean, you do that over and over and over and over a whole simulation. Like, that's a lot of yards that you could have been throwing. Like, you're going for 70 yards instead of 80. Like, it does change how it is. So, yeah, why throw it when you can run a couple times and then you're guaranteed a field goal?
Tied
It's
it
a
up.
game of just, yep.
Rasheed Rice up the sideline.
That felt kind of easy almost for him, you know? Like, I'd honestly want to check to see if they're sweating.
It does feel like Mahomes right now the gap between him and the number 2 quarterback in the league has to be the biggest at any point in NFL history, right?
Whoa, that's a hot take.
Am I wrong?
He's stinging it out there.
Because,
I mean, he has
you
the
think
best
Manning
run.
had Brady basically the entire time.
Yeah. Brett Favre and Troy Aikman. Even you had Steve Young, Joe Montana. There's other quarterbacks in the league. Yeah, I'd agree. I think the problem is that, like we mentioned earlier, the gap between the offensive line and everyone else is so much bigger that you're just getting worse offensive lines, and that's why everyone keeps getting injured because there's no good O lines. That's another byproduct of it. Is we've seen all these people getting injured. JJ McCarthy's out for this season. Jordan Love gets his knee smashed in. Tua, like we're talking about, is he going to be alive anymore? You know, should he even play football? I don't think he should. Justin Herbert got hurt today. Like it's just so many quarterbacks around the league. No matter what they do with roughing the passer penalties, it doesn't matter. You know, Kirk Cousins get hurt for the whole last year because the people protecting them, the quality of them is just going down. And you know, it's their quality of their play is just, and like you mentioned, not enough development, not enough together. And so that's why we're seeing the growth of the mobile quarterback. To be a quarterback, you have to be mobile. You have to make throws on the run. You have to be able to get out of the pocket and scramble. And you have to be flexible. That's just what you have to do. It's no longer an option of, you know, you can't have no longer any statues in there like, you know, Manning and stuff. That's just not how. I mean, Manning he would have been hurt a lot more in today's game than he would have in previous times, just because of the athleticism. Obviously, is just going to keep getting better, and those athletes don't really want to be hustling backwards, quite literally, like blocking backwards, trying to stop someone else when they could be the ones running and tackling.
I mean, the Mannings themselves have literally had to evolve. Arch Manning's a mobile quarterback now. He's running around too.
Yeah.
They had to produce a new athletic Manning to hold up in the modern NFL. So we need to find a way to promote offensive linemen and get the kids back to be offensive linemen. Because, Trent Williams has been the most important player on the Niners for this entire run, and he's the last of the superstar guys that you bring up. It's always McCaffrey, Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, Purdy, Hufanga. I feel like Hufanga's a bigger star than Trent Williams. And Trent Williams is the best offensive lineman of our generation.
Also, not to give more props to Mahomes, but I think he hit those 77 games with like 2 or 3 games left. And then they just showed a stat. He has like the most touchdowns and yards ever through 99 games, through 100 games. And he's at 99 right now.
So next week's is the 100th game?
Yeah, exactly. He's not even there yet. He's not even there yet already. So it's just, yeah, but I think you're right. It's just staying healthy is so hard in the league. And like, I mean, who is the second best quarterback in the league? Like, is it Joe Burrow? Is it even Josh Allen? He didn't make the playoffs last year. Like Lamar? I don't.
Well, it's Josh Allen with the way he's playing this season, but I'm like 80, 20, 75, 25 on Josh Allen as a playoff QB at this point, just because it's so, it's a little James Harden-esque with the amount of use. It's like Luka Doncic and, just the amount of usage that it takes for Josh Allen in a game.
Did the Chiefs just get a fumble? No. Dang it. But, I mean, is Josh Allen like the modern-day Karl Malone, or John Stockton or something, really good at their position and maybe in another era they get a Super Bowl.
I think
but
he's more like
Mahomes is just
Luka.
the way.
I think he's a guy
More
that
like Luka. Okay.
he takes so much responsibility on himself that I mean,
Yeah.
it works because he's such an amazing player, but in the last few deciding games, you do need another alternative. Like even like Mahomes was able to delegate to the run game, in this last run, and that was really a big part of their run. I mean, they really got Pacheco involved, and Josh Allen, still needs to be able to use his sidekicks a little bit more in big moments. I mean, obviously the guy that I think we're both right now projecting out to be in this role is CJ Stroud, right? If we're just going, who are we gonna
I guess
playoff moment, but I
he's
guess
already acting like he's an OG with how he was talking on.
I know he's already feeling he's clearly feeling himself a little bit and getting a little too confident. And I mean it kind of showed a little bit today. I mean the Texans, they've been a little sloppy to start the season.
Yeah. No, it was not great. That game was the yikes. Looks like there's a flag out. Might be a PI.
And I guess the Vikings had they had some turnovers as well too, so they just didn't have to move the ball.
Sam Darnold looked great. Sam Darnold he was chucking them.
What do you do with the Vikings with McCarthy now?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You gotta let see what you got.
Starting next season.
It depends on how this season ends up. If the Vikings win a playoff game, like, does JJ really deserve a spot? Does he have to get a spot?
I mean, they're winning the division right now, right?
Yeah, 3-0.
The Lions
Perfect.
have that loss.
Let's see. Let's check their schedule coming up. I think they
Flores, and I mean, I'm okay with becoming the #1 Brian Flores pod out there for him as a defensive coordinator, because he really does.
Sam Darnold pod already.
Yes.
Brian Flores, wasn't he a jerk to Tua though? He's like rude and stuff.
Yeah, but the man can scheme up a blitz.
But the man can scheme up a blitz. That's funny.
The man knows when to call engage 8.
The Vikings' next 6-7 game stretch is kind of a yikes. They have to play the Packers, the Jets. They have the Lions visit them, go to LA for the Rams, and then have you guys, the Colts, as visitors, and go to the Jags. So
I mean, that's not shaping up to be the most brutal stretch.
That's a pretty brutal stretch, though.
Is Jordan Love going to be back next week?
Maybe. There's definitely a lot of talk of him coming back.
I mean, either way, he's going to
really
be
good earlier.
Do you want Jordan Love? You want a limping Jordan Love? You want a healthy Malik Willis? Is looking good.
Yes, I want Jordan Love.
I mean, if you're the Vikings, do you want Jordan Love?
Maybe. But the Jets look really good. The Lions aren't a bad team.
No, the Lions are definitely the toughest game on that mix, but I wouldn't say the Jets look like their defense doesn't look like the juggernaut.
Still Aaron Rodgers. He looked really good.
But they're going to be able to pressure him. I think they're going to be able to get pressure on any team. Like we're saying, the offensive lines are bad. The Gilmore signing as well too. Their secondary was really bad last year, and it's competent now. It's got some actual above average starter level people in there. And again, I think Darnold might be it's just, is he going to turn into a pumpkin at some point in this season? Will he go back to being the guy that was bouncing around?
Yeah, I know you're trying to help your Michigan guy out. Trying to get him back in there.
McCarthy? I mean, if McCarthy's a starter on any team, that works for me. It doesn't have to be. Bring him in for Indy as insurance?
We'll see. I don't know. What's your position on Bryce Young now? Because I've been out on Bryce Young. I've been a guy who's out on him.
Well, and I know they benched him to get his confidence back, but I think today, if anything could have gone worse for his confidence, it was how Andy Dalton and the Panthers looked today without Bryce Young. Yeah. I mean, and make no mistake, Andy Dalton was making some passes. Like you're saying, he was the only other guy. I guess Dak Prescott ended up getting over 300 yards as well too, so maybe another handful of guys. But his couple of touchdowns, like he had this great throw, like fading backwards into the end zone over a couple of defenders, and then just put another throw on a rope from like 40 yards down the field, hit the receiver in stride again, right between the safety and the corner, going into the end zone, and kind of validated some of the people that were like, I feel like you and me both kind of sneaky like the Panthers roster, right? There's a lot of
there's some good players as I see them throughout the year. Like what's his face, Leggett? He doesn't look bad.
Yeah,
Chuba
I like
Hubbard
looking
had
at
a
it.
great game today. Wait till
I'm big
Jonathan
Xavier
Brooks gets
looking
back. What's that?
That's my Xavier get impersonation. I'm big Xavier looking at.
Yeah. What's his face? Deontay Johnson, who I have on my fantasy team, had a great game today.
Oh yeah, he was looking good. Did he get a
That's the
tutty?
wrong guy. Give it to Bijan. Oh, maybe there's a holding here. Wow, Kyle Pitts, resurgence. Did I draft him? I thought about drafting him. Someone else took him.
No, I don't think you ended up with Pitts.
No, I didn't. But
Oh,
we
you
might
got
be
McBride as your tight end.
Where's up? Yeah, he didn't have a great game today.
I think he got hurt.
Yeah. Jeez, maybe we'll have to put in Likely. I don't know. Likely fell off. Fell off a cliff. But it looks like it's coming back. I don't know. Explain this, Rem. I have the Chiefs defense and Bijan Robinson. Is there any way it works out?
Well, it could if unfortunately the Falcons have already scored a touchdown. But if they score like 1 or 2 touchdowns and Bijan gets them,
Wait, that was a touchdown?
It's definitely walking a fine line.
Wait, Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown there?
No, I said the Falcons already have a touchdown.
Oh, I just saw an animation saying he scored a touchdown.
Oh, you're ahead of me then.
Oh, shoot.
They're close, though.
Oh, it was a foul on getting Drake London. I think McDuffie tripped him up. Ah, jeez.
Oh, you're a couple plays ahead of me.
I thought he was at the 1, too. Okay, Bijan, you got to run this in. Just need Bijan to give me some points here.
Yeah, definitely you're walking a fine line if you have the defense and the running back, but it can be done. You just need limited touchdowns and only for them to be scored by your player.
Let's go. Okay. Well, he did one. I don't know who scored the other touchdown, but he did this one at least.
So now you just need the Falcons to not score any more points and just Bijan to get a bunch more yards, some receptions.
There you go.
Philip,
that could happen. That could very well happen. The Chiefs, we like going down early in the game, give someone a good show, and then second half we come out of the locker room and just do them in third quarter, just like the Warriors.
Is that your best quarter? Should I bet the third quarter spread?
Probably.
There is the quarter spread odds are very interesting. I've been eyeing those on FanDuel because for like the favorite, it's always whoever's the favorite minus 1.5. So if you think they're going to have a really good quarter, it's almost always plus odds on the over. So you could have done Chiefs over 1.5 for like plus 1.0 something. But Drake London had the other touchdown earlier.
Tough.
So Bijan Robinson right now only has 16 yards. So yeah, you need him to get some more yards, but just not score.
Okay, I can see that happening. That sounds like a Chiefs game. We're like, oh no, what's going on? We're down. And then we just turn it on and...
Mahomes currently being schooled by Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has the GOAT emoji on Bleacher Report right now.
That's funny.
In the box score.
I have him on my bench, actually.
Should have started him.
Nah, I got Lamar as a starter.
Oh, yeah, he was up over 20.
Yeah, you can't ever bench him at that point, but...
Maybe against the Steelers this year.
They're able to play spy on him. I think he had 100 rushing yards, 100 throwing yards too.
But again, back to the Panthers quickly. You kind of see why people, if Bryce Young had been a hit at the position, why people kind of thought they'd be an interesting team to be competitive in that division. Because, they have really invested in bringing in some above average playmakers, and they have some good pieces on defense. So with Dalton out there making plays, at least they're able to take down a low-key team like the Raiders. I think did we say this on or off air with poor Papa Price?
Yikes.
Thought he was going to lock down a win this week against
the Raiders. No, he said it off air, yeah. I was like, geez.
Oh, sorry, Papa Price.
Sorry about that. But, is how it goes.
They weren't ready for Andy Dalton.
No, they were not.
Some of those throws, I forget who was on the call. He was like, that's the best throw that's happened for the Panthers in like 5 years. And I was like, whoa.
Whoa, shots fired.
Andy Dalton's going to get traded to the Dolphins after this. They're going to be bringing him in. McCarthy to the Dolphins?
Mmm.
What would you give up? I guess you'd have to take a first-round pick back for the Vikings.
Shoot.
And with 2 out, you could probably just end up drafting your guy, Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers. Oh, yeah. No,
Cam Ward? What about Cam
Archie
Ward?
train. On the Archie train.
Have you watched any Cam Ward highlights at all?
Cam Ward.
University of Miami?
No, I've heard good things, though.
I think I'm starting to buy up a lot of Cam Ward stock as
Okay.
my guy. Obviously, Shador is also our other guy, but Heisman favorite.
Jeez. Come down. Oh, got to the 30 at least.
Carson Steele has a pet alligator?
That's not surprising.
A big alligator.
Whoa,
Jeez.
whoa.
Pause. I don't know if we have to pause that or not, but
Oh, whoa. That big old alligator. That's a
Carson
big hat.
Steele's big gator.
Crocky J. What's up, Crocky J? Man, they definitely got to tape that mouth up. Whoa.
I know, that's crazy if you have a gator and you have to tape its mouth
chop
up.
a leg off. Something.
Having any pet, well, I guess people have dogs that they have to muzzle up, but
Yeah. That sounds like a football player's pet, though. Like, you know.
an alligator?
Okay. Yeah, you got to wrestle your pet.
Yeah, he definitely wrestles it.
Wrestling. Shout out Carson Steele's family.
Power for the first down right there.
Cheers. Yeah. No cheers. They afford 9 screens altogether, but not chairs. Any other really memorable games from this week? It seemed okay. I don't know that Cowboys Ravens one got close. Dolphins, I was talking to a Jets fan today. Like, honestly, if I had to bet right now who would win their division, it's probably them.
The Jets over the Bills?
Yeah. I don't trust the Bills. I mean, how do you go from a non-playoff team, lose more pieces, and then you're supposed to be better?
I don't know. They just seem to have a better pep in their step this year. The vibes seem to be a little bit better.
Vibe check.
They made the coordinator change in the middle of the season last year, but they got their guy in the off season, so they had the training camp, and hopefully it's like this is kind of just smooth sailing with the offense from here on out. And again, the defense hasn't really taken a step back. I know it's had a lot of turnover, but they've been able to get the job done. The front is still able to get pressure, and maybe McDermott can coach up a defense in the regular season to be enough to get enough wins. So I know the Jets look good against the Patriots, and Rodgers was running around, but they also did get killed by the Niners in week 1, but maybe that was also just that first performance with that group together. They sort of need to get their feet under them. The juice is flowing. Pause.
Oh, Lord. Zip it.
Phillips the third.
Whoa. Papa, you're right. Don't get us, please.
Is that the game live?
Yeah, I'm trying to mute it.
Whoa, we're streaming the game now.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know you were going to get Stream East on. We're here to announce our Stream East partnership.
I'm dead. They just need to stop charging so much for all of them. I'm not on Stream East. Don't take down everything. But
yeah, we would never use Stream East.
Yeah, I am. Oh gosh, what a horrible handoff. I am not a fan of handoffs where the running back has zero momentum. Like when they have zero momentum and they're supposed to get really short yardage and everyone's ready for all that yardage. Like it rarely is going to happen when they have like 2 steps and they're supposed to figure it out.
And you're not going to bring in the running back that owns the alligator for the 2-yard carry?
Yeah, he knew how to wrestle him. He didn't break outside fast enough. He tried to cut it inside.
Butker.
Work.
The most underrated chief in this whole run.
The most disliked chief in this whole run.
Yeah, true. I guess I forgot. Yeah. How could you
Yeah,
forget?
so that's still a thing. That's still a thing.
He hasn't changed his views?
He hasn't said he has.
Somebody needs to get this man in church.
I think that you want meet people who might agree with him.
I didn't even get him out of church. I don't know.
That's true. Definitely my old one.
Go to Sam's church.
There you go.
Sam's Celebrity Church.
Oh, welcomed. Might get some fans
Yeah,
recognize
there's
him.
other athletes at the church. You'd fit right in.
So are you not? You're not all in on the Jets. You sound like you don't like the Jets. I'm getting Jets hate
I do
from you.
like the Jets, but I'm not just like they're a lock to win the division over the Bills. I think it's a two-team race between those two teams.
How good? Like, if you had to put money on how good the Jets could be, like where could they be at? Like, what should be their goal for this year to go for?
Well, I mean, they're trying to win the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I do think that if I pick right now, I would pick the Bills. And I think with the way
To get to the Super Bowl?
No, to win the division.
Okay.
And I think Josh Allen is still obviously best player in the division, still carrying the team.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers is the oldest player in the division, but he just looked really good. He looked really good.
I just think they were playing the Patriots, and I get the Patriots have been feisty, but I don't know how I feel about 40-year-old Rodgers against some of these. And I guess the Bills, maybe in a head-to-head matchup, like, it's not the best defense in the league, but in a playoff game, I don't necessarily feel better about the Jets than I do about the Bills. And a big part of that is not because of Rodgers. It's honestly because of their defense, again, hasn't really been the juggernaut. I guess it was good against, but again, it was good against the Patriots, I thought. Against
yeah, we'll see.
Testing, hello.
I unplugged my mic.
I'm a fan of him. In the middle of this commercial break, you got any piercing truth stuff?
Oh, let me see what I have for piercing truth. Pull up a couple stories. There's a couple things that crossed my feed that
you think got
my attention.
I guess breaking news. I guess Antonio Pierce on the loss to the Panthers says as the game went on, there were some individuals made business decisions. So we'll make business decisions going forward as well.
Oh. Whoa, sounds like there's some beef in the Raiders locker room.
Yeah, I don't know. Devontae Adams was like speechless on the bench after the first 1-7. Yeah. Well, I don't know. If the Jets get Devontae Adams, does that catapult them to be better than the Bills? Would you put them to win the division?
I mean, that'd be a pretty major move
for you. Yeah, like Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams.
And it, for some reason, seems like Rodgers, whatever that Allen Lazard, Devontae Adams type of route tree that player has versus what Garrett Wilson does, Rodgers just vibes with that a little bit better. But do you want me to throw out a piercing truth or?
Yeah, check it out.
Okay, I've got one here. Angel Reese recently is single, apparently.
Oh.
And said that she wants her next man to be, she has a couple of specific requirements. Only 2, so that's not too bad. I feel like
taller than her.
I feel like a lot of girls are pretty picky. They have a long list, but
once you start actually talking to them, or like once she starts talking to them, she'll be like, "Oh, I actually don't like this." Okay, so it's one of them. They have to be taller than her. Is that one?
Yeah, one of them is they have to be 6'7" or taller.
They have to play basketball?
Not only do they have to play basketball, they have to be in the NBA.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
she's looking, her profile is apparently specifically is looking for 6'7". She's looking for a wing or a forward in the NBA or a center.
She's trying to get that money. That's 6'7". There's some good 6'5" money. Curry's the highest paid player in the NBA. I mean, he's already spoken for, but height doesn't really do
Yeah,
it.
you're just saying paybook, you know. And that's not, you know, maybe she doesn't. Maybe
What's
she's.
Tatum doing?
I think Tatum's got a baby mama.
And
Well, but I think they're together, is what I mean.
are they? I don't know.
Look up Jason Tatum LMA. I could be wrong. but
LMA. Yeah.
I follow LMA on IG.
Also, Indiana Fever get crushed today, game 1.
Yeah, the
69
Suns
to-
a tough matchup for him. Week 1.
Yeah.
Wait, was there football on today? I was watching WNBA playoff games all day. So I don't even
I don't know.
Wait,
I
did the
don't-
Colts game
shout
happen
out.
yet?
Also, his phone number is. Oh gosh. Minnesota Lynx, Phoenix Mercury, Natasha Cloud, Nafis Collier. I don't know. There's some other
Oh,
good
the Storm
games.
and the Aces are about to play?
Yeah. Is that who's on that Storm team? I'm trying to remember. Wasn't it that
That's Skylar Diggins-Smith,
yeah.
Jewel Lloyd. Who's the other? There's the Agumake. Neko
Oh yeah, that's
Agumake.
what I was saying. Gumake. Neka Gumake, yeah. That's their main player I was thinking of. Gabby Williams.
Yeah. From the Olympics.
Also, yeah, just beat the Mercury. Diana Taurasi is on Mercury. Interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, I saw the Phoenix Fever tickets were pretty expensive, but yeah, I don't know. Caitlin Clark doesn't look like she's gonna be sticking around much longer. So
What do you mean in the in the playoffs?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, again, that defense for the the Connecticut Sun is a rough start. But yeah, 2 for 13 from 3 today, 4 of 17 from the field, 2 turnovers, 8 assists. Oh, so that's not bad.
yeah, it's not like she had a bad game, but there's levels.
Kelsey Mitchell, not really. You know, everybody else kind of
Yeah.
poor shooting performance, kind of all the way around. So move on to the next one. But what were we saying before that?
No, I was just doing a shout out. For my piercing truth.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, I guess if you have to make an exception for any non-6'7" NBA players,
Yeah.
bro, I'm gonna have to spit some serious game when I see Angel Reese. I've got a lot of making up to do for not being 6'7" or in the NBA.
Yeah, we believe. This weekend, actually, so something interesting, totally change of.
It's gonna be that
Gear.
Anthony Richardson deep pass.
It's about Anthony Richardson, actually.
Oh,
This weekend, Utah and Oklahoma State QBs were both 7th-year seniors. So one's 25, one's 24. And Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson are both 22. What are we doing? 25 years old and in college playing football. Like, you're not going to the league. Like, this is it. Like, just imagine for a second you're in that position. Like, what?
I mean,
You're 25 going to college parties talking to 17-year-olds?
well,
like, what?
I don't know if that's what they're doing. They're just playing football.
Well,
I mean, they're probably also going to the
going back
parties.
for the
but
team.
I'm
You're
just
telling me
saying
you're
that
going
those two things don't necessarily have to be happening together.
I know, but you're telling me they're talking to zero, like they're not at any parties. They're just, I mean, maybe they have.
Well, but if
one.
you're in a college, if you're even at a college bar, though, there's a chance that there is an underage, and I'm not even talking like, an 18 or a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old with a fake. We're talking like an actual like there's always that chance that they're out there. So that you just have to use integrity when you're in those spaces, and you're in that weird age at any point. Like if he's a 22-year-old again at a college bar, you gotta, kind of move with some discretion when you're talking with people.
Well, Alan
You can't
Bowman,
get into a Josh Giddey situation.
Alan Bowman of Oklahoma State, former
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yep.
Former Wolverine. So I don't know. It's just interesting seeing 7th-year seniors.
But I would always advise the guy to keep playing at the level that he can for as long as possible, especially D1 like that.
What makes it happen? Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like I guess the NFL doesn't have like a G League equivalent, but like if like college basketball, like I would never tell a guy to not move on from D1 and just go into the G League just to be pro and just to get into the NBA. Like,
and to make money.
yeah, but I guess you can make money too in college now, so it's a little bit different.
Well,
but
yeah, but who's paying the 7th year seniors?
For sure. But I guess what I'm saying is I would never blame the guy for doing it. Like, just you're gonna be playing. You're gonna not be playing football for longer than you are playing football.
Yeah.
So, I would just play.
Do whatever makes y'all happy. I just thought that was an interesting stat.
No, of course you got to do that at the end of the day. But I remember talking to people in high school who were playing football who were deciding, like, do I go to this school for a football scholarship? Like, I know obviously I'm probably not going to go pro. We're talking lower level schools. Like, do I go for this school for a scholarship, or do I stay in the area and go to this school and pay? And I was, I would have always just been like, yeah, man, play football for as long as possible, because again, like,
no,
if you're not going to go pro either, like obviously there's the health stuff too, but
yeah, you're going to take CTE for free. Like,
I'm just telling them what I would do. I would play it for as long as possible, because
it's always dangerous though when you're playing football at lower levels and you're like dealing with people who they got nothing to lose. So,
for the love of the game though, you wouldn't do it for the love of the game.
They got nothing to lose though. Like, you make them a little mad. They're not going to the league. They don't care. Too. I
mean, I guess basketball is different because you're not wrecking your brain. But I mean, I'll never not go up and get shots for as long as I can.
Yeah, no. I mean, basketball is a lot different, but you're also not putting your life on the line in basketball. So, yeah, no, I don't know if there was much else.
That's fair. Was I giving bad advice back in the day? Now I'm gonna feel guilty.
Maybe.
But I still feel like I'm not totally wrong. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna have more fun playing it. So.
You are gonna have more fun playing it, but I mean, what's your quality of life afterwards with those additional years of bigger guys beating you up?
But I guess we were saying I feel like we would like we were saying last week for Tua. If he came to us and talked to him about it, we wouldn't be like, hey, retiring and taking that money is not a bad idea. Like, especially with the way those concussions have looked. Like, I feel like we could give out good advice when needed.
When needed. Yourself saying, hey, don't leave us. Listen to our advice.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I feel like, I'm not being totally just football blind spot guy.
Yeah, no.
But basketball, definitely play for too long.
Yeah, no, play as long as you want.
Like, even the quarterbacks that, like, dip down a level, and it's just like, why is this guy still in the league? Why is he bouncing around? Like, I don't know. I get going out on, like, Brady, he could have the picture-perfect entrance and go out winning the Super Bowl, or in that playoff game against the Rams and almost winning and almost making the glorious comeback. Like, he could have walked out with a more picture-perfect moment, but again, you're not going to play football for, I guess hopefully longer than you do. So I would never, I would actually say that I would almost rather the guy play a couple years too long, just because again, it's like, squeeze as many years out of you. Like at some point it is real life. Like I get, there is the fandom aspect and sort of the bigger, mystical legacy thing that can hover over these people. But it's also, we want that guy to do his job for, as long as he can in good health. So I forget what we were talking about before, but I just want guys to keep playing
we're
football.
Just throwing out that it was 7th year seniors.
Oh yeah, the 7th year seniors. Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Go for it. Go for a decade.
Well, keep cooking.
I guess maybe
and then I think
a decade, but
yeah, but COVID years and all that, it got kind of weird lately.
Yeah.
But also looking to quickly on the corners. I know last year we reported about Holland potentially getting 3 hat tricks in a row. He did not get that, but he did score 2 goals. Also scored 2 goals today to tie against their rivals.
Wait, so he didn't get it, or he was?
No,
I thought you said
no, he didn't. He only got 2, not 3.
Oh, I thought you said he did get it, not he was going to.
No, he really tried. It was really close, but he got 2. So, but for the last 4 games, he's had 2 or more goals. He's scoring more than I think pretty much any other team in the league on his own. in terms of goals. So he's not hurting. He's still scoring. He's still doing his thing. And then also Champions League is going on. There's a new format this year where they do it like a normal league. So instead of everyone being in their own separate groups of 4 and playing between each other, they're doing everyone in one big group. And it's like a normal league where you win, you go up, you get 3 points, you tie, you get 1 point, you lose, you don't get any points. So, there's that. But there's more teams. That means that there's more teams that will go to a playoff scenario, to get into the bracket round. So it's just making more games, which is killing the players. But that's just how it is. Also KC down 10-14, trying to get a touchdown or something here before the half with 1:20 left on the clock. 2nd and 5. Mahomes almost gets sacked.
Oh,
They want the downfield.
are they going to call that grounding?
Call. No call. He was still in the lines, right? That's what they call it.
He was,
When you're
yeah,
still
he was still in the pocket and didn't get it back to the
Yeah.
line of scrimmage.
But there was a receiver near there.
There was, but
What's his face? It was within. The homie ran towards it, so it was like within 2 yards. Let's see, 3rd and 5. Can this? Oh, he didn't cross the line. I thought he got an offsides there. Better snap it, Mahomes. Nice. Oh my gosh. You see, those are the interceptions that get
oh,
so mad.
Bates,
Those are
he
the
dropped
interceptions
it.
that make me so mad because Mahomes hits his guy. Like this should not be an interception in my opinion. That's a perfect throw to Rasheed
Bates
Rice. Like
dropped
it's a
it.
little behind him. I'll give it to him. But that's not Mahomes' fault. Like a little bit, but not enough that it gets intercepted.
Well, no, you're good. The guy dropped it, so.
Yeah.
They're gonna
But we had
play.
so many of those last year.
And it's Rice again.
Jeez, man. Jeez. Well, the game's far from over. I don't know. We probably should have gone to Kelsey or something. I don't know. He's just been having this ban on getting Kelsey for some reason, hitting Kelsey.
Well, defenses are really focusing on him,
They think
obviously.
the ball was out or something? I don't know.
No, it took
Yeah.
a weird bounce. And then the guy fielded it.
They were like fighting almost or something.
Tried to run back. It's getting physical.
You know. But anyway, 10-14. Falcons should probably kill it here. Get it to halftime. I don't know. Maybe the Chiefs
They can
receive.
push it. They still got 2 timeouts. They could get a field goal here and get a touchdown.
Oh, the Falcons? Yeah, they could push it if they wanted to.
Who got the ball to start this game?
I don't know.
Let me double check. If the Falcons get the ball to start,
Let's see what ESPN is saying.
okay, so the Chiefs will get the ball to start the first half or the second half. So, yeah, getting a field goal on the board here and getting a touchdown lead, knowing the Chiefs are going to get the ball next.
That would be helpful.
Kelsey, 2 for 4 yards tonight.
Also, lastly, on Frisbee Corner, regionals is this week. So, shout out Sacramento Tower. They're the first Sacramento team ever to make it to nationals. So, shout out to them. Also, shout out. I'm assuming Revolver made it. It was just regional across the region. Also, shout out University of Iowa. We do have a mixed team, and actually, let me see if our team made it. But anyway, they have really close ties with our best team in the state, Chad Larson Experience out of Des Moines. And at sectionals, the team, the underdogs, and the team made up of mostly Iowa current players, men and women, was up. They were up 11-6 on CLX with Nationals hopes. So it was a really close kind of like in-state fight at sectionals. They almost lost, and then the national team came back to beat them
Oh!
on Universe. But yeah, I'm assuming you're not yelling about that.
Big play. I don't know if you had an eye on the game.
No, I saw a false start.
What time are you at right now?
It hasn't been a minute yet. Oh lordy, it's loading.
I won't
Oh,
spoil it, but
oh,
big play for the Chiefs.
oh gosh, he got a pick. Oh, James Conner. Oh, he handed it off.
The
Is he down?
lateral.
Did they say he was down? Man, that's gonna be huge points. Huge points.
Oh, the
for
fantasy defense.
Yeah, we guess who got the Chiefs defense?
That's a turnover.
That's a huge turnover. Not
And that's
Bijan
a field goal
Robinson
range.
also.
Wow, and the Chiefs are going to get the ball to start the second half.
Wow.
I mean, this
that's
is...
crazy. It's just how it is. And then everyone's like, oh, the refs helped you. The refs did this, the refs did that. No, I mean, that's why I have the Chiefs defense. And it's honestly not just as a homer. Like, we are one of the best teams at getting turnovers. Like,
Yeah.
big plays, we almost always get a turnover every game. I think, like, last couple of years, we've had, like, a turnover almost every game. So it's like, you know, if you're going to go with a boom or bust thing, which you might as well at defense, like, the Chiefs defense is one of the best to have because they're going to make a play. Like, yeah, there'll be games where they give up a lot of rushing yards and all that, but
yardage doesn't really even matter for fantasy defense.
Exactly.
Like, points
it doesn't.
is what matter.
Exactly. So
Points and then
that's
turnovers.
why not even a homer pick, but
No, the Chiefs are sneaky good for that because you also don't get in a lot of like shootout type of games either. Low scoring games.
Yeah.
And then you guys are getting a pick and some sacks in there.
Exactly. Chris Jones always going to give you a sack or two, or Carl Loftus. Like, someone will give you.
In the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
I sense
Let's see,
Kelsey.
23 seconds left.
You guys used your timeout there, so.
Yeah. Well, we know we can get a floater. Oh, out the back. We can get a field goal, get within one, and get the ball back. Like, we're not. Yeah.
That's
But
good.
you
At
see,
least you've got one more play.
Veteran move right there. Mahomes, you know, not trying to pull Collinsworth too much, but they,
Here's a guy.
I mean, recognize that there's not really any play here. So instead of trying to force it there to number 9, I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. He just threw it out the back. We'll
Is that
get 3.
Smith-Schuster?
Well, yeah. Instead of trying to force it, Juju, old Patty would try to force it to Juju, but like he's just like, I'm just throwing it out the back. We'll get the 3. We'll be fine, or we'll have another game. We'll have another down. So let's see what happens. Oh, he sees his guy. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I guess Mahomes just wanted 3 there.
Oh,
He didn't.
I thought he almost
He looked like he had someone.
looked like he had Sky Moore open there in the slot.
That looked like one of those throws that he's like, you didn't run the right route, so screw you.
Can we get a replay?
No, we're just gonna see Harrison Butker. That last one was 53 yards.
I thought he had more on that.
Jeez. Nice. All right. It's indoors. What else is gonna happen? 44-yarder. All right. Yeah, only down by 1. Usual.
Wow, unbelievable.
Usual. Nice. Great pick. That was a great move. I think right now the win probability, we've been under. The Atlanta's had most of the win probability for most of the game, but we're finally peaking at 52.5%.
Ooh.
Yeah, as low as the Falcons had it at 62% when they're up 7-zip.
Yeah, I think actually against Atlanta, you want to be losing on the win percentage.
Oh, really?
I think that usually for Atlanta is a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it's a Super Bowl.
That's true. Week 3.
Shout out to Florida State finally getting a win.
DJ!
I like Rem, what do you got to say about him? Like what are you where is he at? Like what's going on in Florida State?
Can he get an 8th year? Is DJ going to be a 7th year starter somewhere? Let's keep DJ playing.
Oh gosh.
You think DJ would be a better NFL QB than Bryce Young?
I don't know about that.
Should we put up another poll on the YouTube?
I'm just saying, you lose against Memphis and celebrating a win against Cal is crazy. Barely win against Cal. Like,
every win is a great win. You got to celebrate all your wins.
that much against Cal?
Yeah, Mahomes has 128 yards on 27 attempts, and Cousins has 128 yards on 11 attempts.
Dink and dunk.
Mahomes,
that's why they're
system
tied.
QB.
I'm dead. All right, looks like it's going into half. So, for any of
Safe
y'all
going up
watching at
one.
home, keep watching. I might be signing off here, but make sure y'all keep on live. Rem, are you gonna keep live watching?
Are you all
You keep
done? We got you for one half.
Yeah, at least for this one, yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's halftime, so I'll wrap up at some point. Maybe I'll stay on for the whole
All right.
time. We'll see what goes, but let's throw it to break real quick, get Sam out of here, and then I'll be back. We'll see what happens.
We'll
be
see.
right back. Okay. But are we leaving Instagram now? Instagram, it's been an honor. And if you're on Instagram, go to the YouTube at Rem and Sam podcast on YouTube. Sam is the one running the Instagram right now, so obviously if he's taken off, the Instagram is going away. But the YouTube stream is still going for right now. Go jump on the YouTube stream. We'll hang out and watch a little bit more as game 2 goes. Sam is just getting worried because they're losing. Until next time, it's when I actually go live. See you later tonight, Instagram. See you in the morning. I don't know what technical term is. Nah, bro, it's gotta get the word out. You know? Oh, geez, am I not plugged in? No, I had a little bit of time, but I just noticed the battery was Testing 1 2. Am I back? Sorry for the connectivity issues, people. Hopefully that wasn't going on for too long. Ooh, Kyle Pitts. Did we get all of our good Carson Steele jokes in? I guess it's just what it is. We'll have to keep it moving. They're going to keep feeding Carson Steele, so they're... Pause. There's going to be more chances to get Carson Steele shots in. This is not the last we've seen of Carson Steele. Okay, they brought Bijan in after giving Algier a couple carries and a couple more successful carries. Still over that yardage total. I don't know if we said this on the while we were spazzing out or not, but Algier more carries on half the attempts than Robinson. Carson Steele has as many carries as both the Atlanta running backs combined, so who really should have been 8th overall? Ooh, London with a nice little route. Whoa, bobbles it! Come on, London. The one time you get the ball, you can't make the Falcons fans panic. Ooh, unfortunately, we lost another one of the good ones. Nick Bolton's down. Oh, he's got a pretty fat brace on that left arm, so I don't know if it's that or not. Or that right arm, sorry. No, I was right. Left arm. Coke Rain? They're bringing in Coke Rain as a sub? I think this guy's not bad. I feel like we've seen Coke Rain run around a little bit before. So Atlanta's down by 5. So do they go for 2 if they score a touchdown here? Are they already thinking about that? On the end around. Oh, and they're going to get the face mask. McLeod on the end around. They definitely got a face mask. I don't know who it was that got in there. But I'm pretty sure it was one of the DBs. Bijan out as a lead blocker. Oh, it was our boy Brian Cook. And they're not going to call it. Wow, an unbelievable miss. Oh. He kind of got him out by the shoulder pad. Maybe that was a good no call. Once again, the refs. Why they're the pros and we're not. Justin Reed making a play, though. It's going to be second and a little bit long. Now they're behind the sticks. Mooney, that's kind of the first, well, not the first time they stopped him, but Mooney has been successful running routes down the field tonight, though, so maybe they need to keep up with that instead of some of the screen swing stuff. Out to Bijan. Okay, they're getting Bijan involved in the passing game more than the running game. Maybe that's just the face in the game, but still 7 minutes left, down by 1 score. I don't think. I think the whole playbook's open at this point. At least ideally. At least not right now. It's 3rd and 8, so we've got to kind of narrow it down to some of our best plays. London out of the slot. Pitts in motion. Oh, false start. Kyle Pitts, buddy. Too excited. He was ready to go. The play was definitely for him. They had him in motion. I'm sure the route concept would have distracted. He would have been wide open. Oh, offsides on the defense. We're just locked in on the Falcons players right now for some reason. Thank goodness, because Kyle Pitts was definitely going offsides. They put Kyle Pitts in motion. We literally just forgot about all the other players on the field. Didn't even notice it. If me and Sam were running a team, the amount of times he would have had to talk me down from trading for Kyle Pitts. Again, London starting to get open in the fourth quarter, which, I mean, as simple as it sounds, it's just one of the things that I've always kind of wondered with him. It's like, can he be a go-to guy that can just get open? I get over the course of a game, he can, you know, be the guy that leads the team in targets and have some pretty impressive catches. But at some point, you're going to have to create enough separation for your quarterback. Now they're tossing it out to Bijan. And Kansas City's defense, obviously good in the red zone. So, again, I think Chiefs fans feel pretty good. Yeah, they said they've run the ball better on this drive than they have the entire game. They finally wore him down. This time it didn't work, though. Bringing back Algier. And Bijan right away. What did they bring in? Arthur Smith? They're really flipping for the running backs back and forth right now. Third and 5 from a really good spot. The first down's on the 1. Oh, forcing it to Pitts. In the safeties for Kansas City are good in the red zone. Robinson with a nice job picking up the blitz there. Pitts, I don't know if he necessarily... Yeah, he doesn't really even get open. I get he's the bigger receiver. Cousins just doesn't get the... doesn't get the ball up enough. Right off the back of the helmet. And they're going to go for it on 4th and 5. That's what the analytics are saying? I guess 4 minutes left. Oh, and once again, Cousins just doesn't get enough under it. It's going to hit the ground before it gets to Drake London. And they just went right back to Brian Cook. Kind of the same thing. And pretty much same recipe. Underthrown. The Chiefs are going to take over. So if you kick the field goal there, you're down 2 with 4 minutes left. I don't exactly remember the timeout situation for both teams. I want to say 2 timeouts for Atlanta. Plus the 2-minute warning. Obviously, though, it's Mahomes, so you have to kind of think that you're probably not going to stop him. If they go down and get a field goal, now you need a touchdown. I guess we don't totally mind it. We 60-40 don't like. 60% don't like it, 40% don't mind it, which I feel like is a pretty, for not liking it, that's a pretty irrational, or a pretty rational way to not like it right off the bat. Maybe that's playing a little bit too safe, and it's just barely 4 minutes. I mean, by the time the kickoff happens, you know, the Chiefs there might be under 4 minutes left on the clock. You basically have to stop them on 1 or 2 first downs. And with the way Carson Steele has looked tonight, putting his head down, running. I don't know how you necessarily stop Carson Steele from picking up a first down in 4 plays. So I guess, yeah, considering all those factors, I guess you kind of have to go for it. And this is going to be Carson Steele time as well, too. In the red zone, you're going to need to give your quarterback some space. You're going to need to kill some clock. A 20-carry game for Carson Steele right off the bat. Did he get the start tonight, or did P. Ryan technically get the start? I looked away when they did the player intros. Georgia Tech getting some love from the Sunday Night Football broadcast. People really loving that Florida State upset, which maybe not so upsetting anymore. Oh, this time they're kind of ready for it. They're wrestling Carson Steele like he's a gator, though, around the neck, pulling him backwards. Oh. Shout out Corky J. They keep replaying this touchdown attempt to Kyle Pitts. Brian Cook's back turned the entire play, so I guess they're probably talking about pass interference, but they look pretty clean to me. Mahomes. The defender brings him down inbounds. It looked like Mahomes was going to go out of bounds. Atlanta has all 3 timeouts, but you gotta let him do that. And it doesn't look like Mahomes was going to slide either. Mahomes definitely didn't want to get hit. He started to go to the ground after he realized that the defender was going to get him, but and, you know, you can't just, like, corral a guy in the NFL either, too. You got to bring him down. Pause. Diddy quote or football analysis? You can't just corral him. You got to pin him down. And now it's 4th and 2. So, again, if you kick the field goal there, what's the percentage of times where they should have kicked the field goal and then they do end up getting the stop on the next possession? Feels like it's honestly a lot more than not. They are going to get good field position. So that is another part of going for it is, you know, it's like pinning them deep on a punt. Now, not like the interception way, where you sort of check it deep on the interception and get picked off, but, you know. So I imagine we get 1 or 2 plays before the 2-minute warning. We're at 2:26 right now. Again, Atlanta has 3 timeouts. And they only need to score a touchdown. Like, they only need to score 1 time. They don't need to necessarily score and try to worry about getting the ball back. And again, you don't want to leave 13 seconds on the clock, so you got to run this thing way, 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 way down. You really want to be methodical here. Right away, forcing it. Cousins just forcing these last few passes. Ooh, and is it McDuffie? And they did end up putting McDuffie on Mooney. It does look like he's going to get the PI, though. McDuffie. Oh! The corner on the other side, Connor with the illegal hands to the face. While guarding Pitts. His only choice is to foul. We get it, buddy. You lose your wits when you guard Kyle Pitts. London now finding a spot in the zone. He's now worked on man and worked on zone. A nice little fourth quarter here for Drake London. I'm much more impressed than I was at the start of the game. McDuffie, this time, definitely going to get the pass interference. He's complaining before the ball hits the ground. And that's really the only thing that's working for Kirk Cousins right now is he's forcing it into tight coverage and he's getting PIs. Because he is not making a read to the open guy. And maybe this is all just the highest level timing concept stuff, but I feel like in timing routes even you got to give yourself leeway to make a read if it's not there. But we saw that with Hurts today on his turnover as well too. He was like a predetermined timing route. Devontae Brown, excuse me, probably ran it a little bit of a different depth, a little bit different technique than AJ Brown, and just enough off for Matthew to jump in and snatch it. Okay, Atlanta. Drake London seems to be a reliable source right now. Seems like going to the edge with Bijan's not bad. Bijan in the pass game as well, too. It does not... We don't want, really, Kirk Cousins thrown over the middle of the field. I like him throwing to a wide-open Drake London, and I like him checking down. But the stuff to Pitts in the last couple of possessions, the stuff to Mooney... Seems like he's forcing the mix-up. Which, if the defense is going to give you Drake London, then, you know, might not be the worst thing in the world. Okay, local grocery store commercials. Shout out with your local grocery store in the chat. Pull up. Let's hear those save-a-lots and those big bucks foods marts. Do we have any WNBA tomorrow? WNBA and a doubleheader for the NFL? What could be more exciting? Oh, okay, so we got WNBA action on Tuesday, so we might be back with the WNBA on our next feed, next stream. We got Dream Liberty first and Storm Aces. Do a little Storm Aces watch party. Let's just go ahead and check in that game right now. Whoa, Aces Storm. Locked in a close one, 53-49. 5 minutes in the third. Whoa, come on. Kansas City, get an interception here. Let's end this game. Going to London up the sideline. Had a step on him. Ogumake with 13. Diggins Smith with 11. The Aces now within 1 point, 52-53. So we've got the play-by-play for the Aces. in the box score for the Chiefs. Or sorry, the feed for the Chiefs and the box score for the Aces. Going up in the background. Aja Wilson with 15. Chelsea Gray with 10. Tiffany Hayes with 12, who's been a nice little bench piece there for that team. Been fun to see. Aja Wilson with a 3-pointer on her last bucket, forcing the timeout from the Storm. And we've got a penalty on Kansas City. Automatic first down for the Falcons. The drive maintains alive. They're moving way too quickly. They're at the 22 with a minute 45. They swing it to Mooney, and the Chiefs have been all over the Mooney passes behind the line of scrimmage lately. They're playing up. I think maybe with some of the Kirk Cousins passes, again with both those passes in the end zone, he didn't get enough on it. And maybe it was a little like Anthony Richardson just take a bad shallow angle. Or maybe there is some Kirk Cousins arm strength stuff. They're not trusting him to go down the field, and now they're starting to play up a little bit. We're seeing him be aggressive on the line of scrimmage on some of those close-up passes. Dumps it underneath to London, and London's able to break a tackle. Get about 8 there, but again, we'll watch it. IT, let's write down to dive the Kirk Cousins air yards through these first 2 games. And again, he broke a tackle there, which made that an extra nice play. Okay, we might actually have to turn up the volume here. Don't copyright us, NBC. We're just going to have to do a light hum when we have nothing, so NBC doesn't take us down. Make no mistake, we might have got some warnings for some of the future stuff that's been played recently. YouTube said, hey, careful. Watch the copyrights. 3rd and 1. They're going to Algier. He almost snuck through. I thought he chose the right pause. It's always a question with running backs. Chat, if that's a question that you have, drop that in the chat. But they're going to have to go for this down for a touchdown. 54 seconds left. Best thing this is doing is killing time for them. If they get this, they still have 2 timeouts. And Kansas City's going to want to get the ball back too, so they're going to start using their timeouts and saving the Falcons' timeouts for themselves. And yeah, they're just taking one right here too, the Chiefs. So can we tush push Kirk Cousins? Do we bring in Penix for a tush push? A Penix push? Pause. A B job? It's a stretch to Bijan. Bolton's all over it. That's it, baby. Read the play. Atlanta has 2 timeouts. I don't think that's going to be enough with 51 seconds. And I feel like going up the edge like that is an interesting move. They have the lead blockers. And was that a fullback or a tight end in the backfield? Just did not get into the gap and did not get the The blitzer. I get maybe you just get into the hole and hit somebody, pause, but so they're not going victory formation. We're getting Mahomes with the runaround. I think I'd let Carson Steele handle it here, make sure our best players touch the ball. And that was a big play, 9 seconds. You don't get that on a kneel down. Great. See, that's just the little things that Andy Reid thinks of. Let's not get into the victory formation. Let's run a play, and Mahomes can just take a knee after 10 seconds run off, and they finally figure out what we're doing. And they kindly realize, like, oh, yeah, let's actually get in there and make a tackle. He's not going to go down by himself. Do they have a mode in Madden where you can, like, make your own plays and do something like that? Because, you know, that's really the only in-game football where you could just, like, I guess you could just think of a play, but for no reason, you know? Just post a picture of it. But that'd be a fun creative angle for some football fans to... I don't know if it'd be a practice mode where you can draw up the hot route combinations and what the different guys can do, or if it's like a page where you draw, you know, have the routes or whatever. But EA, DM us at Rem and Sam Podcast on Instagram. We can talk about it if you want. And Mahomes a little awkward on the slide attempt. It looks like might have tweaked an angle, but I think somehow they just ran a couple seconds off the clock illegally to get this game over with, because pretty sure it just skipped a couple seconds. I'm not complaining, just trying to make sure we're all aware of what just happened. But the Chiefs are going to take it, and they're going to cover. A brilliant night from Mahomes. Kirk Cousins, again, on the other side of that, loses and does not cover the spread. A tough night for the Kirk Cousins primetime resume. No Pacheco. Carson Strong looks good, man. Their offense is going to be clicking. They don't even need any receivers. I'm not sure who did anything tonight. Kelsey obviously didn't do anything. Rice ended up with 12 for 110 yards. We take it back. But after that, Kelsey 4 for 30. Smith-Schuster 2 for 17. Xavier Worthy 2 for 17. Kansas City, I can't believe we're saying this. Can we get Rashee Rice some help? Travis Kelce, not cutting it right now. Okay, let's see him give the big game balls, and then let's get out of here. Let's watch Carson Steele get a game ball. Pause. Let's get one for Corky J. Get one for Corky J. Call it a day. Pay raise on the way. Is there any defensive guys that are going to get it? Just give it to Simmons anyways. Jerry West style. Connor with the interception. No sack for Chris Jones tonight. That was one of them that we had. We can say it now that the game's over. Chris Jones sack. Plus 110. Of course, the interior and the guards for Atlanta locked in. We should have had the Rashee Rice touchdown. And now we're going to keep an eye on some Carson Strong odds as well. So he ended up on 17 carries. 72 yards, though. So him, like, plus 60 yards. Unless they just set that as, like, kind of his total. But I can see him still being undervalued next week. And I wish I just had more confidence in picking who the random Chiefs receiver was that was going to break out. Not that Rashee Rice is the random one, but like tonight, Miss Schuster had the touchdown. Like, when is it going to be Noah Gray? When's it going to be Smith-Schuster? When's it going to be Sky Moore? When's it going to be Xavier Worthy? When's it going to be Justin Watson? When's it going to be... Is Fortune still on the team? You know, like, who's the random guy that's just randomly going to get the 2 or 3 catches in the score? So we'll figure out a way to try to bet that a little more smartly in the future as well, because somebody random is going to get that opportunity for the Chiefs just by the dynamic of the way their roster works. But you get good odds on a lot of those guys for obvious reason. But Bolton getting the game ball as well. Mahomes and Rashee Rice, no game ball to Carson Steele. I guess 17 for 72 is not going to cut it for the game ball. No touchdown as well. Getting touchdown sniped by, I forget who. Oh, yeah, that was the Smith-Schuster in the back of the end zone. Bolton as well, too, fighting through injury. Again, going down in pain earlier. Playing with that big brace. Rashee Rice overcoming that fumble early in the game. Career high in receptions and targets tonight. Does Taylor Swift have any celebrity friends that are single for Rashee Rice? Wow, so big night on Peacock, according to this ad. And I think Scarface is on Peacock, too, so that's going to be up in the rotation soon. But unbelievable game. We did it. What a weekend of streams. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a lot of fun. We'll definitely, of course, keep streaming this week. We'll be back with some notes, some more thoughts. And we'll be back next weekend as well, too. Doing more watch parties, streaming with Sam, and just hanging out, having a good time. So if you guys want to keep hanging out, keep following us at Rem and Sam, at Rem and Sam Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever platform. We're out there at Rem and Sam Podcast. If you guys want to continue to hang out. And the watch parties, man, what a great vibe. What a fun time. I think it's a good move. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially as NBA season rolls around and as that quickly approaches. But thank you guys once again for tuning into this one. Shout out to Sam and his Chiefs for getting the win. Shout out for Brees Hall for carrying my fantasy team this week. Shout out to Ramondre Stevenson as well on Champ's team carrying my fantasy team because he had a third of a point. So we will be back next weekend. Like I said, stay tuned to the feed. And thank you guys for tuning in.